Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from DeltaCX.com. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. Check us out if you have spare time. And welcome to April 8th, 2022. This is our Practicing Critical Thinking stream, which we do every Friday. Normally a half hour earlier than this. Hope everybody doesn't mind the change of time. So before we jump into the many things that you've sent me in the last week, let's, of course, thank the people who have pressed the join link, the tertiary link on YouTube and are financially supporting the channel from $3 to $10 a month. Totally optional. I do have a day job, but always very appreciated since I reinvested in my streaming software and in the delicious chocolate chips that I eat just about every day. So thanks to you all for keeping me in chocolate chips. Hopefully, now that it's springtime, I'll exercise more and offset that by losing some weight. I hope everybody is doing well. Hope the weather, if you're above the equator, the weather's getting nicer for you. So let's see. I also wanted to remind everybody that I just had my one-day workshop for transforming toward customer centricity, and the response was quite good. So I've scheduled some more for July. So please check it out at deltacx.link/TTCC-training. Okay, enough with the plugs. Let's take a look at what everybody has sent in. And let's see. Let's get all my screens ready. And I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Good night. Okay, this should be where we want to be. Okay, great. So there's me. Hey, snowing. Oh, Steph, that's not right. We had like 21 Celsius today. That's about 70 Fahrenheit. Whoa. Hi, so here's me, the optional tip jar, the chat room, and my browser, taking a look at the things that you've sent me. Hi, Abby. So the first one I actually saw too late. Someone sent this in last week for April Fools, but I didn't see it. It was in my spam filter. And this was, I don't know how you pronounce these people, Uizard, Usered. I don't know. They might want to work on that. Hi, Janice. I don't know how you pronounce this, but the joke was an April Fool's joke that if you just think about the interaction you design that you want, and I'll play some of their video, if you just think about some of the interaction design you want, the system will read your mind and make all of your screens, which of course is a lovely April Fool's dream. So nothing I can really respond to this. No, not much critical thinking needed. It was an April Fool's joke, and it was pretty cute. Hi, Anna. All right, let's look at some other things that you sent in. This is UXpressia, or maybe they say it as UXpressia, like you express yourself. I don't know how anybody pronounces their companies. That's why I pick things like Delta CX. But basically, this was a blog post, it looks like, from last year saying user versus buyer persona. What's the differences, and of course a free template. Now, if you don't know UXpressia, it is a site where you can build customer journey maps and service blueprints and things like that. So of course it's in their best interest to talk to you about personas, since you can build them there. So long story short, I read this article and my thought was kind of no shit Sherlock. I skimmed it, and basically they're saying, hey, don't forget that sometimes you have users and personas for them, and sometimes you have the person who's investigating or buying the system but doesn't end up using it. Now, of course, if you watch the channel, and especially if you've been hanging out in our micro lessons playlist, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell and make sure it says all notifications. If you've been hanging out on our micro lessons and you've seen Larry Marine's task analysis personas video, then that's already built into what we're doing here on the channel. We don't separate users or buyers or things like that. This is all kind of boiled in when we are looking at what personas we need to make and why. And we recognize that since we're taking a role or task or hat approach, that some people will be users, some people will be buyers or approvers, or people of different types. So I think this is a good reminder for people who are not watching this channel that there are more types of more types of personas than just the end user. As for the quality of the persona here, they're saying goals, motivations, frustrations. Now, that's a little bit simpler than the one that we made in the micro lesson, but at least they don't have wacky things here like Myers-Briggs typology, whether or not they like Starbucks, and some other weird things. So I think this article is okay. Obviously, it's to mostly plug their persona template and making your personas with this tool. So you can take or leave that. But if you weren't thinking that there are different types of personas, then hopefully now you are. Chat room, I see 10 people live on YouTube. Anybody questions, comments, thoughts on this? Do you tend to remember to do buyers in the personas or people who are approvers? We've got a couple of tweets to share today. This one came in, and someone wanted to know what I thought of this, though I'm not too sure what I can say about this because Liz has basically said it all. Basically, Liz has a long set of tweets here, and I'm not familiar with Liz, but I thought that what they've written here is great. Oh, Melissa says, thoughts on using personas versus behavior segments. I think if you're doing personas right, they are behavior segments. So, I guess my question would be, what's the difference? Because I don't believe in marketing personas where we're just looking at income or skin color or how kind they are. I think personas should be all about behaviors and tasks and motivations and things like that. Otherwise, they can be not actionable or go outdated fast. So this was tweets about how Banana Republic showed an ad with a baby with Down syndrome and claimed that they had inclusive clothing. And Liz continues on to basically be like, hey, I tried to figure this out, but as far as I can tell, there really isn't anything anything inclusive about this clothing. And just because you show a picture of someone with Down syndrome doesn't mean you're doing anything inclusive. And ultimately, this was a very expensive outfit that didn't seem to have anything about it. They claimed it was gender inclusive. So I don't know what that's about. And so, yeah, ultimately, this person said, hey, I'm a mom of a kid with certain needs, and hey, $120 cashmere outfit, far from inclusion. How about we just have insurance and get our children the things that they need, and why put them in an expensive outfit that will probably be ruined quickly? So there was a lot of great tweets here, and I think there isn't anything I can add to this because this kind of says itself. Solomon says, if it informs your design decisions, then great. Most of the ones I've seen weren't actionable. So true. Okay, we know in the Slack channel we have an Andy Budd hater, and I think it's easy to be an Andy Budd hater, given the tweets and LinkedIn posts y'all keep sending in. I am not sure why anybody is paying attention to him, but you can if you like drama. He says, one of the reasons I think the formal practice of UX has diminished over the past 10 years is that designers have developed better product sense through repeat exposure to positive experiences. Essentially, we've internalized things to the point of unconscious competence. So evidently the UX profession is going away because we're really good at it. What? What? I don't even see how that makes sense at all. I don't even see how that is any sort of logical whatever. UX is diminished because designers are getting more unconsciously competent? What? And then he seemed to be getting roasted a bit. So I saw, was it this? Maybe it was another one, but ultimately I'm not sure people were agreeing with this one. And again, if you find somebody on social media who you disagree with, just unfollow. Do yourself a favor, unfollow. Don't quote them, don't retweet them, don't comment, because then you're teaching all the algorithms, this is good, show this to more people. Amplify this. And really, when you see wacky stuff, the best thing you can do is let it sink to the bottom of the algorithm ocean. Elena says, LOL, unconscious competence. Well, that is a thing, but I would say most of us, some of us have unconscious competence or high competence. But again, this is got nothing to do with why the UX is being diminished and pooped on. Probably the UX is being diminished by guys like Andy Budd. Courtney says archetype versus persona. Janice says, for personas, I know you don't usually incorporate generic things like income. Is there an example where income would be relevant? I would only include income if I found that it affected behavior. If we knew that people with certain income or budgets or finance issues or financial savvy behaved in certain ways, then we might group those people. But otherwise, I'm usually not looking at income. And again, ultimately, even if you do, the more important thing would be behaviors, tasks, and needs. So I wouldn't say, well, people do this because they're poor, or people do this because they make X dollars a year. Hold on, you might be falling into some stereotypes. And then I would say, where's your hashtag empathy? Are you just pretending to empathize with stereotypes you have about people who make a certain amount of money or people who face certain financial problems? So just make sure that if you are looking at income or finances, that you're not falling into stereotypes, and that you make sure you have good research about what those people do. Thanks, Janice. All right, moving past Andy. This was a blog post from last year from a site I'm not familiar with, ab11y.com, and it's called UX Principles That Guide Cognitive Accessibility. And they're saying, hey, look, design principles aren't new. We've got heuristics and other things, and hey, here's another set. And ultimately, I skimmed through this and I thought it was fine. As a set of design principles, it makes sense. We want to make sure elements are standardized and that people feel like they don't have to relearn. We want to make sure that there are clear affordances and signifiers to make sure people understand where they can take action and what action they can kind of take. And thank you, Melissa. Simplicity, always a good choice. You'll see on the Monday show when I'm designing something, I say, and can we make that simpler? Can we make it simpler? Clear communication. Again, there's heuristics around that as well. Information architecture touches that as well. Ultimately, I thought these were fine, and I thought they were fine even outside of accessibility, but certainly with accessibility, they're important as well. So I think if you're looking for a set of design principles, these aren't bad. User control and choice. They felt a little bit like derivatives and combinations of other ones that I've seen, but I really couldn't complain about this article. So if you're looking for a set of design principles where you work, why not start with these and then adjust them as may make sense for where you work and what you're doing. Oh, this one. Well, I'm in a private browser, so I can pretend to okay stuff. I wrote a LinkedIn post about this, and so this is a Facebook bug promoted posts containing nudity, violence, and misinformation over the past 6 months. And what I said is, for those of you who didn't see my LinkedIn post, if you see me on LinkedIn, you can follow, just go back a few days. First of all, notice they picked a picture where you-know-who appears to look sensitive, pensive, worried, concerned. Now, they could have just as easily picked one of the plentiful pictures of him looking cold, emotionless, inhuman. But obviously, the choice of photo is important to make an impression on you to think that he is sorry, he is reflective. And let's make sure we use our critical thinking and notice that that is a manipulation, that it's not like this photo was taken anywhere around the time when all of this happened. And when you look at the article, here's an interesting thing. Engineers first noticed the issue in October, but finally resolved the bug on March 11th. And my point was, that wasn't a bug. If you have a bug showing people porn and nudity and violence for 6 months, that's not a bug. That's a controlled experiment. And if you take a look even more, they were rolling out a feature that was supposedly going to reduce nudity, violence, and false information. And in some cases, it didn't reduce it, it amplified it. So, wow, Are the developers and QA testers at Facebook so bad that they could release a feature that does the opposite of what the feature was intended to do? I think they're calling it a bug because they think that we can buy that and they can get Business Insider to publish this. And, I assume this was a paid fluff piece. I don't assume this is actually journalism. Hi, Denise. So I don't assume this is actually journalism. I think that this is a spin. This is PR spin because there's no way that's a bug for 6 months. If you are accidentally, oops, it's a bug showing people nudity, violence, and false information, you either roll that back immediately, you turn on the kill switch and you kill that feature immediately. Many big companies roll out features with a kill switch in case something goes wrong. Was there no kill switch here? You roll it back, or you get every team you have on this day, night, and weekend until it's killed, and that shouldn't take 6 months. No, sir. No, ma'am. Nobody else. That should have taken a day. Less. I know. If you have a kill switch, it takes 10 seconds. So this is a controlled experiment to show people more nudity, more violence, and more misinformation and see what they do. And I imagine it was successful. Steph says, for once, it's not a bug, it's a feature, sentence works. Yeah, we're pretending it's a bug, but I don't think it's a bug. I think it's a controlled experiment. So there you go. Wrong window. Hold on. Now you're seeing the sausage being made with my thing here. Hi, if they have seen the bug for 6 months, they should have informed early on and fix it. That's true too. They could have had a PR spokesperson come out and say, hey, we're sorry that on Facebook you might be seeing some posts in your feed that are things you would not prefer to see. We apologize. We're working on this. Give us a break. Not a bug. Yeah, it's not a bug. No way. So someone sent me this one, even though it's from a few years ago. This is from Measuring You, and they talk a lot about UX and how you can measure it quantitatively. So from time to time, it's an interesting site, though I tend to dislike all of the quantitative measurements they offer. I haven't found one yet that I like, but I do try to check in with them from time to time to see if they've suggested anything I like, but they haven't, so I'm inventing my own. It's called CXTM. I'm still experimenting with it. I'll tell you more some other day. But someone sent it to me because this article talks about what kinds of things could you measure in UX? Okay, can we measure quantitatively if designs help or hinder an experience? Yeah, sure. Completion rates, task ease, things like that. Have designs improved over time? Quantitative is great for comparing things time period to time period. So agree with them here. Compare your experience objectively to competitors. Maybe it sounds like a bit of a survey. What did you think of this? What did you think of ours? Don't love it, but can be done. Compare it to industry standards. Again, don't love that so much because I feel like that's not as actionable. Like, okay, they like this more than this. Now what? But let's see, get some idea about what might happen that I really didn't follow. What measures aren't? Measures aren't error-free, sure. Measures aren't a crystal ball. Measures don't tell you what to do. And somebody sent this to me because they screenshot Jared Spool. So evidently, if I can follow this tweet adventure correctly, and it's from 2018 because this article was written in early 2019, Jared Spool says, the big problem is Measuring You's assessment, in Measuring You's assessment, is that he never addresses the big elephant in the room. What should a team do to improve their NPS? What does a drop in NPS mean? What does an unexplained increase in NPS mean? As a measure, it has no practical value. And that given the notion of a proxy, we would look for behavioral measures, completed purchases or transactions, repeated use, advancement of feature adoption, or when trackable, referrals, not reporting likelihood of future referrals, which technically NPS is a reporting of likelihood future referrals. Measuring You responded to Spool and said, one of your primary criticisms against the NPS was that it doesn't tell you what to do differently. How do these metrics tell you what to do differently? Go Measuring You. It's amazing how when you hang around long enough, you find enough people questioning Spool. He just is that little whack-a-mole who won't go away. So yeah, I thought Measuring You had a great point here. What should a team do to improve NPS? Well, NPS is about customer experience and wanting to refer other people to whatever this is. So obviously, we do whatever we do to improve the customer experience. We check our prices, we improve our customer support, but mostly we make better products and services. So what does a drop in NPS mean? People are unhappy with us. We should spin up qualitative research to find out why. So again, I think Spool is asking these just to pick on these people because we know the answers to what you should do about rises or drops in NPS. And we know that NPS thinks it's about loyalty, but it's really not about loyalty, but it can be enough of a signifier that we can use, then pair it with qualitative research to know better. So yeah, Spool, they showed you. All right, moving on. So somebody sent me this. I think we were talking about it in the Slack channel. So there's a guy who we generally don't like on this channel who's come out with a book that he calls the No Bullshit Guide to UX, and that you're going to learn UX the easy way. The funny thing about that is I've only seen easy ways so far. I'm still looking for the course where you're going to learn correct UX the hard way, the right way, learning the right things the right ways from people with extensive backgrounds in UX. I'm looking for that. We got plenty of easy way. Sir, you are in a crowded market with little product market fit. If you want to learn the easy way, there are endless free videos on YouTube. There are endless Udemy courses. There are LinkedIn learning courses. If you want to learn UX the easy way, you got a lot of choices. If you want to learn UX the right way, I'm having a hard time finding good stuff. So this guy wants to sell you his PDF book. Does it say how much it is? You will be charged $20.80, including 80 cents for VAT in Italy. That sounds like an incorrect calculation of VAT in Italy, since VAT in Italy is normally 22% of the selling price. So I'm assuming he's going to keep that. Now, I can't seem to get back to where I was. This seems to be its own page. There we go. So this is what this person is saying. Rarely used personas. No, don't do personas. And my articles have been published in places, again, bad articles have been published in places. So, these things aren't very compelling to me, but what is compelling to me is LinkedIn profiles. Who would like to guess how much UX experience this person has? Anybody? I'll give you a few seconds to chime in with how much UX experience you're going to see in this guy's LinkedIn profile. Go ahead and guess, chat room. I know we're about 30 to 60 seconds behind today. Anybody want to join us? We've got 21 of you here. I Love UX Design says 5 years. Daniel says 7 years. Okay, right. You're thinking he's got to be an authority. He's going to teach you UX. He's telling you he has 23 years of experience and he's done over 500 projects. So that's 500 projects divided by 23 years. He's done 22 projects a year. Wow. Melissa says 2 years, Claudia 3 years, Festus 2, Elliot 2, Janice 2. Let's take a look at his LinkedIn. Here we go. Now I'm in a private browser, so I'm getting a slightly different version of LinkedIn. So we've got him as a tinkerer, doing things, learning, and then teaching. Director and co-founder, AI analytics bot for cryptocurrency, co-founder, designing and developing innovative software using React and scalable technology, co-founder at what seems to be called Dogbite, cutting-edge user experience design and research workshops. Everyone just sit with that one for a moment. Workshops. A creative designer, whatever that is, though it's normally visual design, a creative designer and lead designer doing web and print, a designer of web pages, banner, print materials, and logos, and whatever third level design means. Solomon says, I've been tinkering with sticks and stones since birth. Melissa says a lot of co-founder. Yeah, so basically, the only thing we found was that he says he's doing user experience design and research workshops. And of course, it's hard for us to know at what level he's doing any of these things because it's his company. So Jay says 5. So that's a hard one. That's a hard, I am not convinced that he took down the page for his own company, so we can't even go see the work. I Love UX Design says 2001 plus 23 is 2024. Is he from the future? Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's claiming that while he was in high school, he was doing this too. Who can say? So, that's my concern about something like this is if you go by the squeeze page, then you can say, I'm going to tell you what this is. I'm going to tell you how to do, I'm going to tell you what this is and how to do it and all that. And again, if he's got extensive experience, that'll be great. But here he's saying personas are very rarely used. And that's because it's a typical data sheet and irrelevant to real findings. Okay, but then why don't you teach people how to make good personas? Because good personas can be good. And he's saying competitive analysis is very often used, but here on the channel, we talk about the flaws of competitive analysis. And so just because something is used often doesn't mean it's good. We see engineers trying to do UX often. Does that mean it's good? LinkedIn user says, oh my God, I've been watching his videos this whole week and he reviewed the Google course as well. Yeah, I've seen a couple of his videos and I found all of them, I guess the best word would be unwatchable. I didn't find him to be a likable person and I didn't find him to be a knowledgeable person. So, and of course, the funny thing about UI design with masonry up here, which, this wouldn't, is this UX? So, buyer beware. So for $20, you could buy a book that maybe gives you something good, maybe doesn't. But, worst case scenario, you wasted $20 if he doesn't have a return policy. I don't know how it has 11 ratings. Oh, it just launched. Launches in late March. So, 11 people liked it. This book will grow. So again, this is not somebody who I turn to for UX information. This is not somebody who I find to be a UX expert. And most of the time when I run into his videos on YouTube, they're typically UX is easy to learn, easy to do. We don't really need UX. UX is going to go away as an industry. So it just sounds like he wants to play all sides of the thing and see where he can get followers and make money. So I would have to say, no, thank you. All right, we've got one more. And this was an article from Dee Sadler, who I don't know that well. And basically, Dee is saying that you could kind of add something to the double diamond to take a look at strategy. And that you could add something to double diamond and design thinking. And so I blew this up by isolating the image. I'll blow it up a little bit more. And I have to say, I didn't totally agree with it. Now, first of all, I'm not a big lover of double diamond. I think as derivatives of UCD go, it's the best derivative of UCD, whereas design thinking is the worst derivative of UCD. But, my thought is still, why did we need a derivative of UCD? User-centered design was pretty darn good the way it was, and I didn't need a derivative. But again, if you have to use a derivative for some reason, then, double diamond is the one I would choose. use, but this is where this gets weird. So here we're starting with idea. Now, those of you who've seen pretty much any of my videos would know that I believe in learn, build, test, not build, test, learn, or I believe in learn, build, test, learn, in a cyclical way. So the problem is when you start with an idea, you are already a feature factory. You are feature oriented. This is not a task oriented process where we're starting with good knowledge about people because of research that we've done, and we've learned their needs, their pain points, the opportunities that we have to create something great for them, and then we prioritize that, and then we go, aha, here's what we're going to work on first. Now let's move that along the line. If you start with the idea first, then typically you are trying to validate, hey, we have an idea. Does anybody like this idea? Does anybody need this idea? This can often lead, again, not only to being a feature factory, but it can lead to people doing some pretty slippery things to validate their idea. I've seen all kinds of bad research and bad testing. I've seen product managers calling up customers and trying to describe the idea and asking if they like it. Hey, that's super flawed. That's super flawed, and that's not good UX research. So when I see, we're going to start with an idea, then we're going to see, does the idea solve a problem our users have? And they're saying here, state and gap analysis, stakeholders, experience design leadership, UX, user research, and engineering. So we're starting with the idea, and then we're checking if it solves a problem that users have. To me, this is already not the optimum way to do things. It's a way to do things. I would rather see us switch those in the sense of what problems do our users have? What tasks do our users have? What unmet needs do our users have? Where are our opportunities to improve, reimagine, or invent something for our users? The idea comes way later. So I'm not in love with this. I think where people like cool, what's the word I'm looking for? Infographics or cool boxy designs with icons and stuff, this can look like a thing. But when I think critically about it, I'm concerned that it is not a user-centered process. It's not as user-centered as it could be. It thinks it's user-centered because we start by seeing what research we have and doing the research that's needed, but we started with our idea. We started with the idea that, you know what the world needs? Another book about how to learn UX in a real easy way. Does that solve a problem anybody has? Well, we could easily say, sure. Lots of people want to learn UX in an easy way. So sure. You know, and you could come up with research that says, how do we know that? Well, lots of people take lots of courses and read lots of books because they want to learn UX in easy ways. Great, validated. So there's junk ways to validate things and there's better ways to validate things. But my concern here is that while this feels a little more user-centered because we are involving research earlier, we're not starting with the problem and we're not starting with the research. I believe that the best process starts with the research first. The research can then feed strategies, like this says here, strategies, stakeholders, leadership. That's what it is. Udipta says, hello, bit late. What's this, triple diamond? Evidently. Steph says, there's a lot of products that look like someone had an idea and then tried to retrofit it into finding a need or a problem it could solve. We don't need more of that. I totally agree. Who was commenting on the LinkedIn thing that was posted last night or this morning that said like, oh, here, we've invented social media for people who hate social media. And my first thought was, well, if people hate social media, you've just undone your own audience. They don't want social media. And it was supposed to be a way to post more authentic pictures because you only get 2 minutes to post a picture, which means you're not going to be able to apply filters or keep retaking it so it's perfect. And so it's going to be more authentic. And my question was, this looks like a solution in search of a problem. For all of the problems that I think we see on social media, authenticity is a problem, but is it our biggest problem? So again, so I see what D is going for here, and I think it's interesting, but I think we can do something better. Of course, I tried to draw something for myself in my world, and it looked really clunky because I'm not starting with double diamond. I'm starting with user-centered design. But then again, my diagram of user-centered design, which I know is a little hard to see white on white, is starts with research. Research, content strategy, information architecture, interaction design, testing, iteration, visual design, documentation. Now, of course, I've got other slides and stuff that show, okay, now then how does that fit in with other parts of the process? But yeah, I would have to say that I'm not feeling this, and I think with critical thinking there's room for improvement here, and it comes from whoever is phase2design.com, delivering better products using a design thinking playbook. Y'all know what I think about design thinking. Why can't we just use user-centered design? Why do we have to try to boil it down to 5 easy steps you can do in 10 minutes? IDEO isn't doing projects in 5 days. Do you think IDEO is sending out proposals to companies who come to IDEO with their problems, and IDEO is saying, don't worry, we only need 5 days to do this. We'll bill you for 5 days. All right. Well, that covers all the things that you sent in. Now, if you would like to send stuff in to have it appear on the show, please do. You can go to deltacx.com/links, and you'll find a link there that says sending stuff in for Critical Thinking Stream. So send it in. Make sure it's good. There's sometimes stuff where I'm like, why? Why did someone send this in? It's pretty obvious what I'm going to say about it. But if you'd like to see some critical thinking in action, please send something in. And Solomon says, the status quo for people who hate the status quo. Books for people who hate books. Yeah, that thing from this morning. Social media for people who hate social media. What? Say what? No, I don't want that. It kind of reminds me of something my boyfriend said to a friend of mine. A friend of mine is one of those vegan people who tries to get everybody to be vegan. And my boyfriend is vegetarian. So my vegan friend thought, aha, this is my big opportunity to convert this guy. He's so close. He's vegetarian. And my vegan friend starts in with, not my only vegan friend, but this particular vegan friend started in, and if he's watching, hi, he starts in with this whole sales pitch to my boyfriend of like, hey, you have to try this stuff. It was Impossible Burger or one of those, obviously hashtag not sponsored, hey, you have to try Impossible Burger. Oh my God, it looks like meat. It has the texture of meat. Wow, it's just like eating meat. And he tried that one on me, and I'm a super carnivore, and I think I tried when I said, I think I'm eating peas. This doesn't taste like meat. It tastes like peas. But he tried that on my boyfriend, and my boyfriend very calmly and gently goes, but I became vegetarian because I don't like meat. He's like, well, I became vegetarian for, animal rights and other reasons, but I also became vegetarian because I don't like meat. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the taste of it. So you're trying to sell me on this vegetarian item because it'll be like meat? I don't want meat. And my poor vegan friend was just like, oh. Like he shut that down. He didn't have anything after that. It was wrong sales pitch for the audience. So silly story there. Yeah, so right. So fake meat for people who didn't want to eat meat. I always wonder if you're trying to recreate meat, maybe you should just have some meat. I don't know. I'm weird like that. But then again, I live in a land of happy cows who walk around and my dogs play with them. So anyway, that's the reacting to critical thinking, weird articles and tweets stream for this week. Don't forget, we've got a packed set of adventures next week. And don't forget also, please subscribe. YouTube is telling me that you're not seeing my videos enough because you didn't ring the bell and say all. Make sure you say all. Personalized means YouTube won't show you stuff. And I know YouTube is purposefully not showing my videos in search results. So please, if you know people who would enjoy these shows, and especially from the educational ones we do during the week, please tell at least 3 friends, coworkers, managers about the channel, because YouTube's not going to do it for us. So taking a look at next week's schedule, Monday is Think Out Loud, and we've got something to work on for that. Tuesday is Office Hours Ask Us Anything. It used to be the Three Musketeers, but Darren is taking some time off, so it's going to be Dr. Nick and Sophie Fryermuth, who I'm so excited about. She's been on the show before, and she's super, and you're going to love her. Wednesday, we're doing our first panel about people finding their first UX job. Some on our panel have not yet found their first job. Some have, and we're going to talk about what it was like to find the first job or to struggle trying to find it. What else is on my list here? Friday, of course, will be Critical Thinking stream yet again. Monday the 18th, hopefully Think Out Loud, send something in. It is Easter Monday. I'll see how things are going, but I might run anyway. And Friday is Good Friday, so I don't know how religious people are. You tell me in the chat. 21 people are here. Should I be broadcasting on Easter Friday and Good Friday and Easter Monday? Is that offensive to anybody? Will you be here? Let me know. I'm non-religious, so I'm usually not thinking about holidays, but I have #empathy, so I do want to think about holidays that are important to you. Tuesday the 19th is Office Hours Ask Us Anything with a special guest named Matt, who is new to me, but hopefully he'll say some helpful things. Friday the 22nd, Critical Thinking stream. Monday, Think Out Loud. Tuesday the 26th is Office Hours with another special guest. I'm going to be piling on the special guests, and hopefully he can still make it. We have Dr. Giles coming on the 26th. So yeah, there's lots of stuff coming throughout the month on the channel. I hope you will share it out to people who you know care about doing UX and learning it the right way so that you can have a long career with good proficiency and not just a little bit of surface knowledge of pretty stuff. All right. Nobody has said anything yet about Easter, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I think we have a longer delay than usual today. It looked like the delay was almost a minute when it's usually about 20 seconds. So I'll see what people say about broadcasting on Easter. I hope that's not offensive. Janice says, I'm non-religious. If you're on, I'll be on. Okay, it'll be the Debbie and Janice show, if nothing else. Okay, well, if anyone is offended, I do apologize. I don't mean to offend anyone. If you are busy, of course, for Good Friday or Easter Monday, everything's always archived on the YouTube channel where we have over 500 hours of videos. If you are interested in a topic, please go to YouTube and write Delta CX and whatever's on your mind and see what videos we have for you. They are free of charge, and the ones that have ads, we donate the money to charity. I couldn't think of a charity for March ad money, so I'll probably give to the Trevor Project again because that's always something that's very important to me, is making sure that LGBTQIA plus people are getting the support and love that they deserve. Festus says non-religious and always lurking. Okay, thanks. Good to see you. Yeah, that's the story here. So everybody have a super weekend and be safe. I hope the weather is good where you are. And if it's snowing, I'm so sorry. But always good to see all of you. It really makes my day to do these shows and see you and hear what you have to say. Jay and Melissa, Udipta, Steph, Solomon. Who else was here today? Elliot, Claudia. I'm just rolling back. I Love UX Design, who I guess is I Love UX and I Love UX Design. I wonder if you're the same people. Nick, maybe. Is that Nick? Elena, who just wrote the book, Elena, or a different Elena? Abby, Anna. Easter is cool, says Jay. Vanina's here, non-religious, but they're holidays and I'll be off away from the computer, but not offensive. Okay. Yeah, Easter can be delicious. Yep, that's me. Ah, that's great. How's the book doing? Everybody, Elena wrote a book. Elena, remind us what it's called so we can plug your book. Now available. Came out, what, 2 weeks ago? So yeah, if anybody has like written a book, let me know. We'll shout it out to the rest of the community. Because Elena is Elena PhD, and she's got a book about, I think, about being in graduate studies and shifting from graduate studies, I think, to leave academia and be in the workforce. I think it's like survival guide while you're in academia and then how to transition into work, something like that. And okay, she says it is called, let's put it up on the screen, What I Wish I Knew. Here it is. A field guide for thriving in graduate studies. She made #2 on the bestseller list. So proud. So yeah, check that out. If you are in graduate studies or thinking of it, check out Elena's book. I didn't read it, but I've had enough private conversations with her to know she's pretty smart and the book's probably good. So everybody, please do check that one out. And again, also a quick plug for me. Don't forget, I've got my new Transforming Toward Customer Centricity training. The video course is coming Easter weekend, and the next live courses will be in July, and I've scheduled them for all different time zones. I've got 3 options for time zones, so hopefully everyone will feel like I loved them. So check it out. It is $27 American. I'm trying to make it affordable to everybody, no matter what your currency is. There is a higher price. If your work is paying for it, please choose the higher price. If you are paying for it yourself, please choose the lower price. If you feel you cannot afford the lower price, let me know and I'll get you in for free, because I don't want, and you don't have to prove it to me and you don't have to tell me your story and whatever. If $27 is too much, just tell me and I'll put you right in. But if you can pay $27, please do. And if you can pay $197, please do. Let's see. Happy Easter. Yeah, Denise, and Easter's a week away. The year is flying by, y'all. Can't believe it. Oh, Jamie says Transforming Toward Customer Centricity, highly recommended. Thank you. Jamie was at the second workshop that we did just a couple of days ago. So, thank you. All right, I'm going to play us out of here, but always so happy to see all of you. Thanks for being understanding about the time change today. I was on someone else's podcast, so I was going to be late to this one. I was on some WordPress podcast where they mostly seem to want to talk about politics, which I try to stay out of, but there you go. I was on some weird panel discussion of WordPress and then world politics. So there's that. All right, I'm getting out of here before I forget, because I just love talking to y'all so much. So be well, happy weekend. See you Monday for Think Out Loud. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are